Hello. So today I'm going to talk about one of the most annoying things that people say to people with Asperger's, and that is, well, I wouldn't have thought you'd be able to do that because if you're Asperger's, or people with Asperger's can't do such and such a thing. And it's like, a lot of people want us to just sit on our asses and not do anything, not go out the house, not do any activities, not push ourselves. And then when we do, it's like, well, I thought you had Asperger's. And I just want to say that if you don't push yourself in life, then you're not going to make any progress. You've got to put yourself out of your comfort zone. And I've done this a lot in the past, and I still do, because I do want to challenge myself, and I do want to prove to myself that I can do certain things that people wouldn't necessarily think I could. And I want to have a fun, colourful life full of different experiences and different skills. And some of the things that I've done, people are quick to say, well, I thought you had Asperger's, so I wouldn't have thought that you'd be able to do that. I couldn't if I were you. And it's just like, well, maybe it was really difficult for me to do that. Maybe it did take a lot of time, and I did, have my days where I thought, well, I can't do this. Maybe I tried it and it wasn't for me. But if you don't try it, then you don't know, do you? You've got to try new things out, and you've got to push yourself. And some of the things that I've done, I've only done because I've had a few drinks, or, it's not as simple as what people interpret it to be. So yeah, at the end of the day, people with Asperger's are people just like everybody else, and you can't expect them to just sit at home in their own little world and not go outside and not try and do things that are fun. you know I mean, I know of people that with Asperger's that, like Bradley Gunn Raver goes around the whole world, like going to raves and that. I couldn't do that, but I don't say to him, well, you've not really got Asperger's because you go around the world raving. I'm sat here going, that's off to you, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd do that if I could do it. Probably not raves, because I don't really like rave music. But yeah, like, and Guy Martin, I think I've mentioned Guy Martin before. He's got Asperger's, and he does programmes for the BBC. He fixes Scania trucks in Grimsby full time, and then he's a TT racer. Like, the amount of interviews and stuff that he does, and talking to people, and all that, and it's been documented that he doesn't like it, and he tries to keep it to a minimum, but he does it because he loves riding his bikes, and he loves Spitfires, and all the stuff that he's into. Like, it's probably really uncomfortable for him to sit and do interviews and talk to loads of different people and be pressurised into socialising with the crew members of whatever documentary he's filming and that. It's not going to be easy, but it doesn't mean to say that people with Asperger's can't do stuff like that. So I think people should be a bit more open-minded and just give us a chance, because otherwise our lives would be really boring if we just lived up to the expectations and the stereotypes that are put upon us from society, from other people, from the stigma. Then we'd have really boring, dull lives, and we'd have no confidence because we'd not be doing anything, we'd not be achieving anything. So it doesn't matter if you are limited by your condition. Like, I've done loads of things, and it's been, some of it's been an absolute disaster, do you know what I mean? But then other things, I'm like, bloody hell, I never knew I could do that. I mean, I've stood in crowds of people in the middle of Wolverhampton and Sheffield, handing leaflets out to people and talking to people about the meat and dairy industry, and, you know, stuff like that. You do face a lot of challenging people, because, you know, people get defensive about that because it involves their actions. And, you know, for you to stay calm and have an adult conversation with somebody and, you know, show them kindness and just carry on doing it, and be filtering out all this noise, like crowd noises and beeping and, you know, noise from shops and stuff, it was a massive task for me. And I mean, I got invited to a curry afterwards, after I did it in Wolverhampton, and I was just like, do you know what, you know, thanks for the invite, but I'm not going to be able to do it because I'm absolutely knackered. Like, my brain was literally frazzled, but that was important to me, and I'm glad that I did it. Another one is dancing in clubs. And, you know, I won't go into detail about it because, like, I don't really want, you know, like, managers at work and that assuming the things about me. Not that there's anything wrong with dancing, like, loads of people do it these days. But yeah, like, I'd never thought in a million years that I'd be able to do that. But it took getting into an alter ego and, you know, being covered in makeup and massive shoes and, you know, all dolled up, my hair done, and just pretending to be somebody else. And I quite liked that, you know, because I wasn't Anna with Aspergers. While I was doing it, I was not going to tell you my dancer name. So with the confidence and, you know, be able to talk to people and that. But after a shift of doing that, my God, I was absolutely wrote off. Especially when it's nights and you come in at 6 o'clock in the morning and it's just like, ugh, you know. I'd not do it again, but I'm glad that I did it. I'm glad I've got that experience, and I'm glad that I proved to myself that I could do something like that, even though, you know, I'd have to have a drink to do it. You know, like, I've got some stories to tell. So yeah, and it taught me a lot about a lot of things, and it was quite interesting to observe different people and talk to different people and find out, you know, what they do for a living and what makes them tick, and, you know, what problems they're having, because a lot of it was listening to people's problems. So yeah, like, there's been loads of stuff that I've done that I never thought I could do. I mean, getting on trains all the time to go to photo shoots, like, I don't do that anymore. But yeah, like, getting the train all up and down the country to different places, like, at first, it was really, really, really difficult. Like, I absolutely hated it, and sometimes I just have to say, look, you know, I'm in a right mess now, I can't come, I'm really sorry, you know. But after a while, I was just doing it. Once I got to know the train stations, and once I'd been there once and knew my way around and that, I mean, I can go to Birmingham New Street now, which is absolutely bloody massive, like, ridiculous. And it is really noisy as well. And I'm not saying that I like going there, because I don't. I'd rather not. But I can do it without even thinking, really. As long as you make sure that you know the time of your train, you know the platform, you've got your ticket ready. Like, I like to be really prepared before I do stuff like that. Anything scary, anything that's going to put me in a situation where I might have a meltdown, like, it's always best to be prepared. You know, anything that you've never done before, any place that you've never been to before that you think that you're not going to be able to do, you probably will be able to do it. all you've got to do is, it's proper cheesy, but all you've got to do is believe in yourself, be prepared, and just bloody go for it. So yeah, just because you've got Asperger's don't mean to say that you can't do anything. You could do anything if you put your mind to it. And that's all I've got to say on the matter. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again soon.